What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. Eddie and I are still out here working on the Headlight air filter extravaganza. So we're gonna see if we can wrap things up today. I put out a video and I was kind of hesitant on moving forward too much on this, and sure enough, somebody pointed out that I had the filter in there backwards, and when you're reinventing the wheel, you make mistakes like that. And then the problem with it being backwards when I built it is there's an angle to it. So to flip the filter around, I had to change the angle on the little bucket guy. But we got that done kind of off camera. I just showed you guys real quick that it was back in the car. So we flipped around the angle on it. So now what we're trying to do today is we need to wrap up the back side of this to basically make it whole and then do bracing or do whatever we need to do. So this is the back side. We left it long. This is the hole that's going to go through, so we should be able to connect the turbo, which sits here, to this portion through the cross member. So today's endeavor is to get this hole big enough. We may have to get rid of this. If we do, we'll have to figure out how to connect it, maybe lower to the outside, see if we can get that, get rid of that bolt, get this hole large enough for the silicone guy to go through. Right, so that has to go through and then connect to this. So this should be on the back side and come through that core support, and this should plug on. Actually, technically this will be on the turbo like that, and then we'll plug that piece in when we put the headlight box deal in. That's what I'm envisioning, regardless of whether or not how it goes down is to be determined. That's what we're gonna work on today. But let's get started on that. And I think the first thing first, let's put the turbo back in, and now we can see exactly where that hole lines up and all that fun stuff. So I just roughed it in so we could poke a hole and see where we landed before, but now we have to get serious with that hole because it looks like it was chewed open by a squirrel. So let's mock the turbo and all that back up, make sure the hole has a straight shot, and then we can fit this guy so it'll poke through. And then once that's done, we can put the box and everything on, line it up, and then hopefully build it back to the thing. Call this video a wrap. You guys will say hi to Eddie. Say hi, Eddie. This thing's just held on with a couple bolts from the inside, and there's not a lot of structure to it without that little backing plate on. So we have it mocked up, but we need to get the backing portion of it in place, and then we can build up some structure. That way this thing doesn't rattle and fall off when we're doing a, you know, $140, $150 down the quarter mile. Take my trim off. Lost you guys. Bumped the old car with the big old turf ski and everything fell apart, huh? So we'll tighten this down. Well, at least finger tight. All right. All right. And this fun stuff. So now you can see that we can't see the edge of that. Kind of down here, but like over here, not so much up here. So that means that silicone part is not fitting through this. So let me work on this. We're gonna open things up. I don't know if that's gonna have to go away, but it looks like there's some meat over here that I can punch like a smaller bolt through. So maybe we'll punch a hole right here real quick before we take that away to keep this lined up still. And then I will work on opening this up till we can fit that silicone piece and it'll stick all the way through. I think that's what we're gonna do. So let me mess with that and I'll bring you back. After a little bit of movie magic, we have clearance. I may clearance it a bit more. Not sure how much this is gonna move around. Now I don't want it cutting into the edge of this, although this stuff's pretty tough, pretty thick. And then this is, like I told you guys, would be the receptacle. Although the crazy part, it's funny because the lip of this turbo may very well be kind of at the back of where that plate is. I mean, I think stuff may be really tight. We may not have much of a flange on here for that to hook into, but again, I think as long as it's centered and it pushes into this thing, I think we'll be okay. I think life will be good. So now that that is in place, and then we've got the through portion on the turbo, we can test fit this guy and see hopefully where the back portion of this thing is going to end up. So let me mess with that. I'll bring you back if I kind of figure it out, and we can keep on moving. So we put this back in, and I think the easiest way to find a definitive answer, I think this is going to work perfectly, but as you see, we kind of like gap here, and then it's all kind of filter, which is great. I'm going to, where this line is, this is as deep as this thing needs to be. I think we're going to cut that and basically cap this whole thing off, and then I can come with a marker and trace this circle, because that piece has to fit through there, right? So I can trace that circle so I know exactly where it's going to land, and then we can come back and cut this in. And it seems like more work doing it that way, but it's less guessing. So we kind of go a step backward to go a step forward is kind of what I'm thinking. So let's pull this out, we'll set it on the bench, and I'll kind of show you guys what the idea is. Okay, let me show you guys what I was talking about. Hopefully I don't get popped for a copyright. My neighbor's playing some softer country music, and I can feel my testosterone levels dropping, so we'll see if we can get through the day. This thing is flush, right? So that's where this lands, like so. And then the filter is obviously flush against this. So we only want it as deep as it needs to go, so we can save room for this guy, which I will show you. We'll flip it over gently so it doesn't go anywhere. This piece is where the filter needs to bottom out when you put it in, right? Because that's the front facing down, this is the back with the turbo sees. So we'll cut that flush, we will box it in, we can put it back in the car, and then I can trace a circle so that we know where to land this guy. So this guy will get cut in something like that, I would imagine, roughly. And then we should be rock and roll. And then we'll have a lip on it. I don't know how much lip we can keep. I'd like to keep as much as possible. And then this is where the silicone, like you saw the turbo. So we'll put the silicone on the turbo, and then we'll put this box in, and it'll go on there, vice versa. The thing is, it's kind of funny, is this will have to be accessible, because if I want to pull the turbo, I don't know if I'll be able to get that silicone piece off of these guys when it's sandwiched in between there. So that silicone's also going to help brace this headlight bucket, because it ain't going to go anywhere, which is kind of cool. So that's that. Let me box this in, get this thing cut down, and then we'll just put a big old plate that overhangs, so we have lots of options to make our cuts. Ta-da! So here is my little idea. Let's go bolt it in the car, kind of see where we're at, and then I gotta go get a burger or something. I gotta get some red meat going, get my testosterone levels back up here. So let's throw this in, make a mark, and I gotta grab some food. Screwed it in, put it back on, and this is what we look like. So now we can take our marker and mark it. I'm not going to do it one-handed on camera because I'll screw up as I usually do. It looks like we've got a decent little gap here, you know, and then up to there. So this is what we're going to draw air from, but again, it's a 6-inch inlet, but the actual turbo itself is only like 4 or something like that. So this will work out fine, and it is what it is. So let me make that mark on there, and then that'll give us a reference of where we put the little circle dude. We are back from lunch. I had some red meat, feeling better about life. We traced this, and then I put the silicone on here, and I traced the silicone inside, and then that's where we made our decision to cut this in. So it's just all tacked in place. Then we have this gap on the bottom that we'll have to contend with, but moment of truth, let's go put it in the car and see what kind of gap we're working with from the turbo to this guy, and then we'll have to cut this down, and then we'll try to assemble it in like a final assembly looking guy. So let me go slide this in, we'll get a look at it and get a measurement. Very awesome. All right, so here's a look at our apparatus. I mean, I can see the inside of this the whole way. It's a little offset, right? And then it's a little closer here and a little further there if you look on the back side. So that tells me that this thing needs to do one of those. So I'll have to cut the tacks and then give it a little boop, boop. So yeah, other than that, I mean, honestly, I think technically this would probably work. I could probably squeeze the silicone around that. But since we're just tacked up and then I cut these little grooves here, we should be able to just give one of those and it'll give a little more distance. And then I should be able to measure the silicone. We're gonna be home free, boys. So that's what it will look like without the filter in place. And then obviously we gotta weld it all up and all that fun stuff. But I think that's pretty darn slick, if I do say. So, not too bad. A lot of effort, man, for that, but hey, fast street car stuff, right? Here she is tacked in. I put it back in the car, and then I made a little cattywampus. You can see it's lower here, higher there, and that should facilitate this being the same distance away from the turbo. We measured and cut this down. So now, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it is the moment of truth. I'm gonna put the silicone around the turbo. Then you and I are gonna try to slide this on home and bolt it down. And if it looks good, we're gonna call that a win. I'm gonna turn the camera off and do all the finish work and weld it up and do all that fun stuff, because I feel like I'm done beating you guys up, and then that proves that this thing does work. The next time you see the video, hopefully she's all welded up, spritz black, and she's in place. So let's go throw this stuff on there, see how we did. The moment of truth. Let's see if this thing does what it should do. Alright, technical difficulty so far. Awesome. That guy. Oh. This wire's in the way. Wires make it awesome. We'll have to tie these off for sure. Make sure they don't cook. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Think we're in, boys. Let's see if I can start a bolt. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Think we're gonna do it. Uh-oh. We got one started. Let's see if we can get... Oh, I already see it. It's already lined up. We already did it. Bam. Woo-wee. Loady, loady. Bam. We freaking did it. Bump. Ba-ba-ba. Look at that. Not too bad for a ton and a half of work to do something completely stupid that doesn't exist. Awesome. So we are just hand tight. Got the bolts in. I just have this thing tacked, and then this has a lip on it. This will need to go away so the filter will sit flush. That's why I'm not showing you guys with the filter in place. So I'll weld it all around on the back side, and then I can grind this area here flush so the filter can go all the way flat. So one last thing since we're here, I know you guys are probably wondering, let's throw the trim on and we'll see exactly what it's going to look like without the filter in place. And I think this is a good place to wrap it. So yeah, there she is. We'll have to clearance this a bit, like I said, so this doesn't vibrate and cut a hole in that. So we still got a bit of work, but you guys don't need to watch that. So, man, it's like it's supposed to be there. Slide this trim on, catch a gander. All right, she's a looker, boys. There it is. That's where all the air is hopefully gonna go. I think we lined it up nicely. I'm happy with it, and like I said, this will be, we'll paint it all black, so it's just this black hole with a little turbo hanging out in the background. So I'm happy with it. Hope you guys don't feel like I beat you up too much on it. The video is a little erratic today because we had some blaring music and I would get hammered with copyrights, so sorry guys for that. And it is what it is. It kind of showed you majority along the way. You get the idea, and I think we took it from concept idea to completion. And then I'll just weld all this stuff up. We'll put, like I have this little gap in here, we'll put a little piece of sheet steel, and then like I said, we'll get it all welded and finished and done. But you guys know exactly what it looks like. I mean, from that to finish, we're not that far from the finish line. So I'm gonna take the rest of the day to boogie on that so I don't have to record and work, so we can actually wrap it up and get on to the next thing. So other than that, if you watch to the end of the video, waiting on my sticker proof still trying to find out about shirts through my buddy. Worst case, we'll just put it on Shopify and I'll just figure it out, and the margins will be terrible, but at least you guys can get shirts, and that's kind of the point. But I'm still waiting on the stickers. So my stickers get here, everything else is a go, and then I got to cut some vinyl ones. So I have, you know, I'm gonna have samples of everything, so I'll make an entire video and we'll go over stuff, and I can touch it and show it to you guys and have it in hand, so that when I say we're ready to rock and roll, you can watch the video and hit the website and go grab it. So like I said, I've got posters ready, the sticker artwork is done, we're getting samples made on that. I had to hang up because the color on the Twinnebago was off. And then still haven't looked into hats. Let me know if you guys are interested in hats. And then posters are in the house, they're done, those are phenomenal. And we are rolling on that stuff still. We'll start beating you guys up again on that. And then also public service, I'll make another announcement on a different video, but I don't think the boom is gonna make it to LS Fest West, for anybody that's wondering, because you're probably like, hey Dane, how come you're not stressing out about it? Talk to my boy Ryan, and he is busy and he is helping me out, and my job doesn't take precedent because he is helping. He is basically sponsoring the build, so he needs to make money and eat. And we're going regardless. We're taking the Bago, so we're going to shift gears off of this onto the Bago, just for everybody that watched the end of the video that is enough of a fan and interested enough to listen to me ramble. Thank you very much, you guys. Thank you for all the support. Till next time, like, subscribe, share. You know the drill, you know the deal. I'm out.